So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us share some recommendations on things to do in the summer, particularly if you're in the Ottawa location listening. And yeah, if you get up to anything such as the Kaleidoscope Kayak that was brought up, hitting up various festivals, just let us know, and always love to hear from you. And looking forward for more conversation of that ilk down the road. So for episode 187 of these conversations, I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. Say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great time right now, enjoying summer, enjoying the warm weather. We got another great episode for you guys today, franchise episode. I can't wait to dive into it, Eric. Why don't you let the people know what we're going to be discussing right now?
Absolutely. So yeah, this is one of those classic go back to our roots, something that everyone here can relate to as well, and that this extremely popular franchise that everyone at some point in their lives has seen, whether as a kid or as an adult. It plays for all, and I feel like it's pretty fitting for us to discuss this franchise right now. Matt, coming off mere minutes off an unfortunate loss for the Team Canada soccer or football club in the round of 16, but let's just take a moment though to celebrate that the guys got this far. Very impressive, and I'm really proud of the players, and the country itself was fun to follow, and it bodes well for the future of Canada and the sport. But yeah, now going back to some wholesome content in Toy Story. So a franchise that Matt, you and I grew up watching as kids. The first one was released when I was 1, and now here we are 31 years later, and the 5th movie has just been released mere weeks ago at the time of recording. So we're going to be going through films 1 through 5 in order. So fear not, if you haven't seen Toy Story 5 yet, there'll still be a lot for you to listen to up until the point where we get to TS5, at which point we'll, of course, spoilers for all of these movies, but I'm just assuming everyone listening has seen 1 through 4. And if you haven't seen 5, just unhook at that point, go see it and come back and listen. All that being said, Matt, do you want to kick us off? Just, Toy Story, classic movie, but what are your just overall thoughts on the Toy Story movie franchise? Let's just get into it.
All right, well, my overall thoughts on the franchise is it holds a really special place in my heart, and I'll explain why. It is, I've never thought I'd be able to would do a podcast on this, but I'm going to be discussing today the first movie I remember seeing at the theater and the last movie I've seen at the theater at this point, so as of time of recording. So it's really cool, gives me goosebumps right now. But yeah, Toy Story 2 is the first movie I remember being at the theater. I think I was 6 or 7 years old, and I remember like yesterday being in the theater and enjoying the movie, and I remember who we went with. Like, I remember that experience really well, so the whole franchise is super near and dear in my heart, and when I think about the first 2 Toy Story movies, it's my childhood right there, so very, very happy. But yeah, very near and dear to my heart. We'll kick us off with the first one. I mean, I remember watching this on VHS in French, L'Histoire des Jouets, on repeat, and like just falling in love with the characters. Like, I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't know what Toy Story was, like the gang, Woody, Buzz, and etc. Like, I just loved that first movie so much. We always used to watch it on VHS, my sister and I. And yeah, my initial thoughts on the first Toy Story movie is it's a perfect movie in my opinion. It rips by. There's no wasted time. Great characters, of course. Great villain, and it's just like it's a masterpiece. What about you, Eric? What are your Toy Story 1 memories and thoughts?
Yeah, just starting off with 1, of course. Me too. It's like rewatching it for the first time since the last time I'd seen these movies was 2020 when we did our Disney vs. Pixar episode. So I'd watched 1 and 2 only in preparation for that, and so that was 6 years ago. So now rewatching it immediately from the opening, the credit crawl, and just the You Got a Friend in Me playing, Andy playing with Woody, it just immediately brings me back as a kid watching that movie. I forget if I did watch this in French. My mom could confirm, but it's not ringing with me right now there if I did or not. But just watching that movie, like if I had a letterboxed account when I was a kid, like this movie would have been logged 100,000 times probably, because I've seen this so many times, and just is such a, like that movie for me is just the quintessential experience of every kid, right, at one point in their lives, back in like when we grew up anyways, Matt, in the 90s, like playing with toys, using your imagination to create and build worlds. Me, I was a big Lego guy. Like that's where
Hmm.
I didn't really play with these. Well, of course I did play with toys, but it was more Legos, and just seeing
Hmm.
Andy have his the worlds he's creating, dialogue between the toys. I would do the same thing with Legos, and just be I'd be
Hmm.
okay to play alone for stretches of like 6 hours at a time, just creating these intricate stories. So watching as an adult, it makes me think of those days, look back on it fondly.
Hmm.
And then as for the movie itself, just absolute masterpiece. Let's just say it right now. Toy Story is the crown jewel of Pixar, this franchise. Maybe one of the best movie franchises of all time, in that no weak links really, and it just holds up perfectly. Can throw it on anytime. Good for kids, good for adults. And some good humor in there too. Like I was cracking up just watching Buzz. If we can get into the characters a little bit there, when Buzz comes in, he's the catalyst for this movie, right? He is now the
Hmm.
shiny new toy that takes the attention away from Woody. So it creates a power struggle between the two. Identity crisis for both the characters, right? Woody is used to being the favorite child, getting all the special treatment, but then Buzz comes there now he's that guy, and not realizing that he's a toy, so having to adjust from thinking he's a space ranger fighting intergalactic wars and realizing he's a hunk of plastic is just an interesting and
Yeah.
funny plot device that they use in this movie. So there's a lot of funny stuff that you're not really picking up on as a kid, I think. So just what are your thoughts on that whole dynamic? Those two characters were the driving force of this movie specifically.
Yeah, what I find this like one of the strongest things about the Toy Story franchise is the dynamic between Woody and Buzz, and how it evolves between each and every movie. And Woody is the one, like, I kind of follows the audience the most, in terms of like he's the voice of reason, and he definitely changes the most between all five movies. And in this one, he's just trying to be like, like, I relate to Woody the most, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's understandable that he feels threatened by Buzz, and then tries to make Buzz realize that, like, no, you're just a toy. Um, I think the relationship between Buzz and Woody is very strong in this movie, and it does nothing but evolve to even stronger stuff in the sequels. But it's also peppered with the side characters, which are all great in my opinion. They're not overused and they're not underused. They're just the right amount of, like, there in the background with their quips. Mr. Potato Head, Rex, Ham, like, perfect Slinky Dog, like, perfect amount of banter and, yeah, wittiness, and a lot of, like you said, jokes that I would never have gone as an adult. Sorry, that I would only understand as an adult, not as a kid. Between Mr. Potato Head and Ham, and all, like, little quick quips, and it's great. The animation too, like, it looks super cool. First a CGI movie that's ever come out. Really, really cool stuff. Allows them to do a lot. What else can I say? Like, Andy, I feel like we are Andy in the first two movies. Like, we are Andy in the first three movies, where we went, like, we were the same. We were young kids when they came out here, 1 and 2, and then we're Andy's age in the third one, close to Andy's age.
Yeah.
So we can relate to how he feels and what the toys mean to him. And every single movie, the toys are completely, like, the meaning of the toys changes in every movie, and what they mean to that person. It's really cool how the whole franchise evolves with the times, and the toys age along too. I know I'm going all over the place. I'll stick to the first movie. As a kid, and just right away, as a kid, I was terrified of Sid. I don't know if you were, Eric,
Oh
but he
yeah,
was
kidding me?
terrifying, and that workshop in his room, stuff of nightmares, right?
Sid is like, if you have like an older cousin, let's say, who's just an absolute menace to you when you're younger, like you're just terrified of if he's gonna flip a switch, and God only knows what he's gonna do either to you or your toys. He's a wild card, a bully, just a objectively bad person, right? Sid, at such a young age, like you wonder And they don't really give him any sort of redeemable qualities other than he's like the best claw player of all time there, batting 1,000, snatching those green things, and then the 3-for-1 at the end, Buzz, Woody, and the other green one. But he's really just pure evil, the anti-Andy, if you will, and you really are afraid as a viewer. Like when you're in his room, I was watching it this time thinking like, how was I not terrified of what other little creatures would pop up in the dark, dimly lit corners of his room, this sadistic brat. And then the creatures he's concocting too, like his Dr. Frankenstein-esque innate ability is, honestly, you kind of almost have to respect how creative he is in putting these things together. But he's just, again, a very, like a formidable force of a villain, great first creep in the series. And just to bring it back to your earlier point about how in every movie the meaning of the toys change, that's a huge plus in favor of this series, is that it's never the same movie. They find ways to keep it fresh despite the long layovers too in between movies. They never really missed a beat and told a different story, all with the same characters for the most part. So really impressive there. The first one being the most simple one, right? It's about what does a toy mean? What does it mean to be a toy, really, at the end of the day? Like, I think that's how I would describe that. But otherwise, I think it's a really straightforward movie, simple stuff, but it all works. And Ham and Potato Head are for sure for the adults, pandering to them. They're kind of like your Varys Littlefinger tandem, if you will. But Ham was just cracking me up watching this the whole time. Every little line, like the kind of sarcastic, dry, quick-wittedness of him there is good stuff. But yeah, Toy Story 1, the one that started it all. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got nothing else to say on it right now, but those would be my thoughts on Toy Story 1. Anything else to add on your end for 1?
Just a little bit. Like you said it's the simplest one, and its meaning is very easy to understand, like what it means to be a toy. Like when Woody basically yells that at Buzz, iconic moment, "You are a toy!" And other highlights include the obviously the rocket spaceship, the rocket sequence on the remote on RC, the remote control car chasing the moving truck. That's a highlight. Like the escape from Sid's room with all the other mangled toys. Him revealing himself to Sid as like a toy, like basically breaking the number 1 rule of toys. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this movie rips by. It's like under 90 minutes, and it's not a wasted moment. It ends really well too. You know, they land in the car with Andy. They're ready to move on, and then Mr. Potato Head gets his Mrs. Potato Head, and then you're ready to move on to part 2. And this movie is such a great intro to all the characters that allows us in 2 and 3 and all the other one to just jump right in, and we're already super familiar with our cast and loving them already. So now we're ready for number 2 and even more adventure, which I think number 2 basically it does everything a sequel needs to do, kind of like Shrek 2. Just take the first one, put everything that was lovable about it, and then like add more to it and more depth and layers of story, which I don't know about you, Eric, but Toy Story 2 might be the best Toy Story movie. It's super solid. Like I said, first movie I saw at the theater. Loved every minute of this movie. What about you? What are your opening thoughts on Toy Story number 2?
Yeah, Toy Story 2, I think this is my favorite one, I'll say, because, again, along with Toy Story 1, it's one that I've seen so many times, and it's really the one where this is the adventure movie, right? Like, there's way more action, the stakes get higher, they get raised, the world expands, right? Before we're kind of not stuck, but really just focused on Andy's house and then Sid's house. Like, that's kind of where our world, and then obviously the chase scene at the end as well there, and Pizza Planet. But for the most part, it's like the toys getting out in the real world and trying to rescue Woody after he attempted to rescue Eazy, poor bastard. Just I'm slipping. But I felt bad for poor Eazy there. But anyways, Woody I love seeing the toys navigate the real world there. That's kind of never gets old for me throughout the whole saga. But just, Al, absolute dirtbag, stealing Woody from the yard sale.
Oh my god.
causing a mayhem out there, yeeting skateboards out into the house, like running off with the money too. Just a despicable human being who might have been Sid's long lost father. Who knows? But it just raises it to the next level. You got, again, breaking into his apartment, the climb up the elevator shaft, just a lot of those cool moments. And then for me, obviously, yeah, Al's a great villain, but Zurg is your cool looking villain. And the opening scene is like Star Wars to a T. And as someone who grew up on Star Wars as well, I think that's why I naturally gravitated towards 2, in that I loved seeing those. Also some Mission Impossible stuff with just navigating through like the hallway with all the traps and stuff, the lasers. So it has that appeal that I think as a kid it hooks you in, and it still ages so well. So that's my opening thoughts on 2, is that favorite one, adventure angle is huge, and also really funny as well. Just like when they're kind of using the Etch-a-Sketch to draw the mock-up of Hal, it was killing me too. But yeah, that's my opening thoughts on 2. What about you?
Yeah, you said a lot of good things, Eric. Like I said earlier, like the stakes are bigger, the perils are bigger, the story's more expanded, the world's more expanded, which is what I love about part 2. And the meaning, like, Woody sacrifices himself to save Wheezy, then his friends have to go on an adventure to save him. This movie is a lot about sacrificing your, like, trying to help your friends out to the extreme. And also when Woody gets to Al's and he meets Jesse, Bullseye, and Prospector Pete, like, what they gone through, and then like Woody kind of agrees to stay with them, then doesn't, like that whole angle. There's a lot of touching moments in this movie, especially the Jesse flashback. And I just want to tangent here and say the franchise does a great job of doing segments, like flashback segments with a music piece, like to tell a story quickly. It's very sad and touching. A lot of times they do it, like Jesse's flashback is sad, and there's more in part 3. But they do a lot of good musical segments in this franchise, especially in the first 3. But back to Woody, like he goes through a lot in this movie, and he discovers himself and discovers a different world where he is the more popular toy back in the day in that TV show.
Yep.
And it's about like what his meaning in his life. If he doesn't want to be a toy anymore, what can he be? And one day will he be discarded like Jesse's kid did to her? And there's a lot of like thought there. There's way more stuff there's way more philosophical stuff going on in part 2, and your place in the world. That's what it's all about, right? Your place in this world. And the toys go through that in every single one of the movies, because at the end of the day, they're just a toy, and they're gonna have to keep finding new owners. But no, like part 2 has so much more depth than the first one, and more thrills. I love the anytime they cut back to Buzz and the gang trying to find Al's toy barn, like them with the cones and the traffic, and in the store with the Barbies and the other Buzzes. Great stuff. Like that's why this movie's pace is rapid, because you're cutting back from Woody to the gang, like back and forth, and you never are bored for a second. So cut all that into a great all that leading into a great climax is what makes this movie 10 out of 10 masterpiece to me, Eric. So yeah, that's how I feel about the movie. What about you?
Yeah, I like also that. Then, like you said, in this one it's Woody who's the popular toy, and he kind of, in a sense, loses his way, because I remember this time being kind of frustrated that Woody was prepared to abandon not only Andy but also all the other toys, given the fact that, you know what, yeah, there was this little moment where I got ripped at my shoulder, little injury there, and Andy put me on the shelf, didn't take me to cowboy camp, so he's willing to dismiss me so I can kind of move on with my life. Like, you can kind of understand though where Woody's coming from, but I did feel like it was a bit quick and abrupt, and didn't like it. And what I did like though is that it was Buzz this time around kind of reteaching to Woody what it means to be a toy, and that sure, maybe you've got some notoriety now, you had a little special show that ran for a few seasons there, but it got unceremoniously canceled, and how much meaning and joy are you actually going to get from being behind a pan of glass in maybe in Shibuya somewhere in Tokyo, I don't know, but let you know when I come back from there. But anyways, and I think that was kind of a interesting dynamic that I like, and in my opinion makes the movie elevated even because of that internal struggle that Woody never faced, even when challenged by Buzz in one. Now was okay, you know what? I found my new family. So I understand all of it, honestly, but it was just, it's more layered, like you said, than in part one, the OG. And Stinky Pete also just absolute vile villain. Like I'm a big Stinky Pete guy. Like I don't like him, but he's a good villain. Like when he screws the vent shut, like you just know he's got some forearm strength that no one can mess with, really. Those calves are just giving him that low center of gravity bulldog strength. Speaking of Bullseye also great addition to the cast. I've said it multiple times, but the scene with him somehow maintaining pace with the plane on the tarmac just cracks me up every time. Like he's keeping up with this 737 ready to take off like it ain't no thing. It just kills me every time. But I love that now we got some more cowboy-centric action, and then it's the intro to the Jesse Buzz dynamic that just gets fleshed out more and more. Yeah, so what I will... Actually, I'll keep this for later, but yeah. 2 is like, always has been my favorite. I think when we did our Pixar versus Disney, I had 2 lower than 1, but if I were to redo my rankings, I would put 2 ahead of 1 for sure. No slight to 1, but...
Yeah, no, I understand completely. You said a lot of good things, Eric. Buzz is having the existential crisis in Toy Story 1, and in Toy Story 2, it's Woody and Buzz helps him. Like, what a great like switcheroo there. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and first, I just want to say Al is completely hysterical. Like Wayne Knight, who plays Newman on Seinfeld, like he's great as Al. Like he cracks me up the whole movie. He's like, oh my god, and there's a lot of comedy, but also, like you mentioned, the plane scene at the end, like that is just pure movie magic when they're like hanging off that the retracting wheel and like he lassos himself through it and lands on Bullseye to escape at the end. Like that to me is very thrilling. And I remember as a kid at the theater thinking like this is like the best thing I've ever seen. And the scene too with the conveyor belts and the luggage is cool. Fighting Stinky Pete. Great stuff. Like again, this movie is so short, doesn't waste any time, but like it rips by, and there's a lot of homages. Like you said, not only the opening sequence, but there's several other homages. Of course, the obvious Star Wars Empire Strikes Back one with Zurg, but there's a lot of good stuff in this movie that highlights what Pixar had been doing at that time, like the golden age of Pixar during this time, where they're like very great homages and tributes to other movies through their animated medium, and this is no exception. It's great. One of the funniest scenes, Eric, I laugh out loud when Buzz is the two Buzzes are saying, "No, I'm the real Buzz," and then real Buzz just pops open the lid, and then the guy's gasping for air. That's still hysterical to this day. Am I right? So
big time.
Yeah. Overall, this movie it's better than the first one for me, and it's a perfect movie. So I don't know what else to add.
Forget if we included it in our like sequels episode that we did back in the day. If not, that's a disgrace. Maybe if we were to rerun that, it would have a place in there, because you're right, it is the Shrek 2 of this series of movies. Now, where this franchise deviates from Shrek is that after 2 in the Shrek world, it kind of nosedives, in my opinion, whereas here, the best days are not necessarily behind it. So let's get into 3, and you can kick it off for us, Matt. So Toy Story 3, that comes, 10 years after the second installment, just around that. So kick us off with TS3.
Toy Story 3, what can I say? This is for sure my favorite of the 5. And it's not a big spoiler. I mean, 3 to me is perfect as well. The first 3 movies are 10 out of 10s for me, guys. They're perfect. So Toy Story 3, I saw this at the theater. I just finished high school, I believe, going with my friends. We're all adults going to see Toy Story 3. We don't give a shit. We love the franchise. The movie ends. I'm trying to hold it together because I'm with my buddies, but man, that movie hit me so emotionally hard that like I thought about it for days after, weeks after, because I was Andy in this movie. That was me in the movie. Like accepting that my childhood's gone and it's time to move on to greater and better or greater things like college and my adult life. But man, does this movie hit me in the feels, Eric. But yeah, let's start at the beginning. This movie, again, our characters are there, and we're at the phase where we're transitioning here. Andy's old; he doesn't play with his toys. What do you do? So the beginning is a little heart wrenching, where like they think they're getting thrown out, and then they're getting donated, and they're going to the daycare. There's a lot of like confusing stuff going on with miscommunication with the garbage bag. But our characters basically end up at a daycare, and that's where we meet our villain. And Eric, you're a big villain guy, so I want you to tee up our villain in this movie and our setting. So why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, Lotso, the I forget the full name of this character. There's something the bear, the huggable bear. He may look huggable, but there's not too much there that makes you want to give this strawberry smelling bear a hug, because he presents himself as a friend, and then not too long into the experience at the daycare do you discover that he is not what he appears to be. He's a manipulative, kind of dictator like figure at the club, running the show, putting the new toys into the caterpillar room, which the kids who are probably on the naughty list going berserk are sent to that room, right? And he knows exactly what he's doing. There's a division in the sand, power tripping. He's running. It's almost like a mafia-esque organization that he's running. I don't think they really fully go down that path, but that's kind of what I'm calling him, like Lotso Soprano out here, and that he's running the show, bigger lad, and he has the unanimous respect of his capos and can get away with murder, which I'm sure he's got a few bodies under his belt. So Lotso is great, though. I think the series only elevates with its villains leading up and peaking, I'll just say right now, with Lotso.
Oh, yeah.
Gabby does not hold a candle to Lotso. We're going to get to that later. So Lotso, and you mentioned it earlier, the flashbacks. With the Lotso origin story is so good, and it's not an extremely short one. It maybe is like in the 5-minute range, which can be a while for us, a flashback, but it kind of makes you feel for Lotso, which is always impressive when a movie or show can make you to somehow sympathize with someone you've seen commit heinous acts and not be a good person, or good purple bear in this case. And just him being like forgotten on the side of the road from his previous owner, and then when he somehow against all odds gets back to the house where he was trying to get to with his other companions, finds out that he's just been replaced by another, I'm assuming, $1999 plush bear, right? So it's sad, but then what he decided to do from that moment on is something you can't really respect, in that he just fully becomes evil from that point on. But yeah, no, Lotso, fantastic. So that's kind of my take on Lotso there. I'll back to you, Matt, about just the story. And one thing I liked about this movie is that there's a plan and execution trope where they try to escape the daycare and they come up with this plan, and this is how it's going to shake down. How did you like seeing that kind of Prison Break-esque sequence? How did that play out for you, and were you a fan of that?
I was a very big fan of that. This movie excels me in storytelling. Like, it's the cleanest one out of the 5 in terms of like a start, middle, and end, and a great pace too. I feel like the toys in the first 2 movies were kind of like sheltered in their house, not really seeing the whole wide world. And then this one, they kind of get a wake up call where they're like, oh, not everyone's super nice and friendly, and these are the realities of the different world we're entering. They had it good under Andy's household, played lots, and they had the good life, and now they kind of like are super trustworthy of Lotso at first, and then they kind of get shafted right away. And I agree, man. Lotso, you feel a little bad for him, and then you realize he doesn't want anyone's happiness, like even if he impedes the happiness of others just because he's unhappy. And the best villain in the franchise, and really maybe the only truest villain, because the other villains in the first 2 are just kind of being themselves, but he's a true villain. Same with 4 and 5. Anyways, he's actually like pure evil in my
Yeah, okay. It's a good take.
Especially when he does in the garbage thing, in the
Yeah.
garbage dump. But do you want to say something first, sir?
No, I was just gonna say I agree. I mean, Sid's not a great kid. I'm curious to see if he was reformed after the threat from Woody. Maybe I feel like maybe he
Ah,
probably had a stint in I don't know, some sort of facility, a rehabilitation clinic. They're like, I don't know, man. Kids, toys don't talk, Sid. I don't know what you're talking about here, but
mm-hmm.
I kind of would like to
Good
think that
point.
he turned a corner and maybe became an activist for toys' rights. And who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what kind of career path he got down? But let's get back to 3.
Yeah, he's like a master engineer using all his
Could be.
past
Bring him
experience.
back
Anyways,
in Toy Story 6.
maybe. There you go. But no, like the escape plan, that's a highlight. Like, so the toys eventually get in prison. Buzz gets reset basically, and he becomes Lotso's button man. You know, like Lotso's like, hey, we could use this guy. But by the way, I love the meeting in the soda machine. Like, it's such a gangster trope. You know, like the meeting of all the bad guys, and he's sneaking in on it, then gets caught. Like, it's so cool. And then the whole, like, the great escape sequence, I call it. Like, the planning, the execution, things go wrong, things go right. This movie rips by. We also have a bit of side quest action with Woody and Bonnie's toys. We're introduced to Bonnie, who becomes a major player in the franchise. That's all good. Woody makes his way back. Yeah, this movie's it's the true, it's like good guys versus the bad guys the way we haven't seen it before, in terms of like it's all in one setting, and they're trying to defeat this huggable strawberry bear, and it's great. I love Lotso has a lot of great lines in the movie, voiced by famous actor Ned Beatty, who was like up in age at that point, but he does a great job as Lotso. To me, the last 20-30 minutes of the movie, Eric, are like heart-wrenching and gut-punching and make me very emotional. Like, I'm not ashamed to say this, but this movie, like, definitely, if I'm watching it alone, I'll probably shed a few tears, not gonna lie. Be it the garbage dump scene or the scene at the end with Andy and Bonnie, very, very sad, but in a good way. It's a very transitional movie where the toys transition. They start, like, think of the toys at the beginning of the movie to what happens at the end. Like, they go through a lot. If they're kind of entering their adulthood stage where more stuff is happening in their lives, and they just have to roll with the punches and accept it. And we all wish we could stay as Andy in 1 and 2, but at the end of the day, we have to be Andy in part 3 and move on from our toys, because I mean, it's not healthy to play with toys when you're an adult. You can still play, but, like, you know, there's other priorities, and I think Andy realizes that, gives his toys to Bonnie at the end. Anyways, I'm saying a lot of stuff here. Like, what are your thoughts on the final 30 minutes of this movie?
Well, I haven't even really said my thoughts on the movie because this was just my second time seeing it. Saw it in the theaters with my family back when it was released. And I remember when I saw it the first time, I don't really think I was hit that hard by it, but it's been so long, I don't truly remember. But watching it this time around, the whole time I was really enjoying the movie. And obviously knowing where everything goes. The garbage scene, I was tearing up. And then the giving the toys scene, it was game over. Like, full on tears. Like, just such a relatable, impactful moment. And again, we were Andy giving our toys up, and giving your toys up is like accepting that this phase of my life where I'm a kid is over. I'm growing up now. I'm taking that next step where, yeah, it is a little weird if you still play with plastic dolls as a guy in college. Like, even him deciding to bring Woody to college was insane. Like, the guy would have been the laughing stock of whatever college he got accepted into, right? Like, he would have been crawling back to his mom's house and taking online classes if he had truly brought Woody into wherever he was going. So, love to see, though, that he did want to bring Woody. I respect, be yourself. I'm not shaming anyone here or there, but I think at the end of the day, bring a girl back to your dorm and she's like, what's this cowboy doll doing next to your pillow? It's a little bit of a strange move. But overall, but yeah, no, super emotional at the end watching it. Like, just the lineup of him naming all of his toys one at a time and saying what kind of their specialty is and what they're known for. And then at the end of, wait, how he's not supposed to be here. Like, he didn't want to give Woody up at the
Yeah.
end, and then Bonnie goes, "Hey, that's my toy." He's like, "Wait, no, it's not." Like, oh my god, that just got me. And I'm gonna say it right now: Toy Story 2 is my favorite one. 3 is the best one, for sure. I think
Okay.
3 is hands down the best movie in this franchise, because I don't really get emotional watching 1 and 2. 3, it got me, and I feel like it'll be the same thing every time I rewatch this movie now. So I think it has, deeper meanings to the messages connect with me more watching storytelling, elite, Lotso, goat villain. I think it's the best one. Toy Story 3 lives up to the hype. If it's been a while like me and you don't really remember or appreciate what it did, rewatch. And I guarantee, even if you have high expectations like I did, hearing all the hype of everyone saying it's the best one, I'll be very surprised if you're disappointed. So those are my thoughts on Toy Story 3.
Eric, that makes me so happy to hear this. I'm so glad you love this movie and you think it's the best one. I agree. When Andy pulls Woody away from Bonnie, like that split second of indecision, that just that kills my heart, basically. I'm destroyed. And then Woody at the end, like looking at Andy leaving. Oh my God. And I've rewatched the movie many times, and it's just as sad every single time. I appreciate this movie so much more. So many little jokes, and like, it's great humor. The Ken and Barbie humor is great in the movie. The Buzz, like the Mexican Buzz, and Mr. Potato Head's antics with the pickle. Like, there's so many little quick comedy moments interjected with the seriousness that it's great. There's some terrifying moments too with the giant baby. Lotso's like right hand person, like insane, and it's such a great movie. I don't think I have anything to add. 10 out of 10. The first 3 movies in the series are 10 out of 10 to me. Perfection. It is a perfect trilogy. Like Tarantino even said this. The Toy Story, but the first 3 are a perfect trilogy. Should not to be touched. And they obviously decided to make more. And was that the right decision? Find out in 2 seconds, because yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add on Toy Story 3, or do you want to dive into the decision to make more?
No, I think that's it, because I do have a point to make that's applicable to 3 and 5 when we get there. I'll just say it now. Another reason why I think it's relatable, Andy not wanting to give up his toys even when he's going off to college, as someone who played like Pokemon video games later than a lot of people who maybe at that point even were like starting to drink or party and stuff, and I was like late to the game doing those things. Definitely relatable as being someone who still held on to playing games that may be considered more for kids. And yeah, so that's kind of my last point, that I think that fits in for what they did with 5 as well, but we'll get into that shortly.
Interesting.
So for number 4 now, came out 9 years after 3, which was definitely excited for it, even though I wasn't at the time. I don't remember loving 3 as much as I did this time. Still, hey, it's a Toy Story movie. I love this franchise. Perfect trilogy in Tarantino's books. Looking forward to this. Remember seeing it in 2019. Andy and I went together. Neither of us were that crazy about it. Thought it was okay. A lot of investment in this new character, Forky, who didn't really resonate with us. And I remember being a little skeptical of rewatching and not overly excited to rewatch it. And when I saw you a few days ago, Matt, for Canada Day, I hadn't logged Toy Story 4 yet. You thought I either had this as a 5-star movie or a 1-star movie. I'm actually kind of right down the middle, 2.5 stars, but I'm leaning more on the negative. That's a negative 2.5 in my books, because the reason I'm giving this some praise is because it is still a good-looking movie with the animation style. There are some good things in there, in that now the toys some of them have been abandoned completely, and like Bo Peep is living in the wild and kind of saying that, oh, life is so much better when you're just a wild toy. You don't even have an owner. The world is your oyster, basically. There are some good ideas there, and even Bonnie struggling to connect with people because she doesn't have a toy, or she plays with toys on her own, but doesn't have friends in the real world. So she's kind of struggling, and makes Forky, who is not a toy. His nature is to be a spork, is to be used one time to eat and then be thrown away. And when he is then forced to become a toy for Bonnie, he's struggling with that and kind of rejects that identity that she is forced on him. And his goal in life is to find a garbage can and throw himself in it. So I understand all of it, but the humor portion of it was just not hitting with me. I was super annoyed watching the movie, to the point where almost 50 minutes in, I really unhooked from this movie, and I was playing chess. Shout out our cousin Dylan.
Really?
I now have an interest in playing chess out of his bachelor party on my phone for the last 40 or so minutes of the movie. Like, this is a movie I'm never going to rewatch. I'm just going to say it right now. Like, I was not a fan of Toy Story 4. Hate to be a Debbie Downer here on the movie, but it just lost me. I was focused, I was dialed in, but a movie's job is to command your attention as a viewer. And despite the fact that we're doing a podcast on this, it just wasn't doing enough to capture my attention. And I just didn't really care. Gabby, weak villain in my... She's barely even a villain.
That's exactly, yeah.
And it's just, in my opinion, it's a steep downfall from 3, and yeah, no emotional beats for me personally. That's my opening rant. Probably all my thoughts on the movie, honestly. I just emptied the clip here, but throw it over to you, Matt. I know you're higher on this than me, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
All right. Full Tony Montana emptying the clip at the end of Scarface there. I love it. Okay, Toy Story 4. Where do I start? Okay, I saw it at the theater as well, and that's when I felt the same way as you, Eric, at the theater. I was not engaged. I was not a big fan of it. I thought it was a huge step down from 3, and it's still, like, it doesn't even compare to 3. It shouldn't even be in the same, it's not even in the same league as 3. But you know what? Rewatching Toy Story 4 last week, I was engaged the whole time. I liked the stupid humor. I don't know, I got into it, Eric. I enjoyed it. There is no villain in this movie. Gabby's not a villain, in my opinion. She's just she has her end game, she has her motives, and she does what she has to do, but at the end of the day, she turns around and she's not a villain at the end of the day. You're absolutely right. And maybe that's where this movie faults itself, is there is no villain. What I like about this movie is the characters are still all there and lovable, and they're great, and you get a bit more different characters that didn't get the limelight in the other movies. And I don't mind Forky at all. Like, the first time I saw the movie, I thought it was stupid, but then I kind of found myself laughing a lot more watching it the second time. As well as, like, the Key and Peele, the 2 bunnies, they were funny. I didn't mind it at all. Having a different setting too, like in the carnival and the antique store, it was refreshing to have a different setting. The story's stupidly simple, guys. Like the RV, and then like Jesse like pops a wheel on it. Now they have to stay even longer. Like, yeah, there's a lot of conveniences in this movie. I'll give you that, Eric. Very convenient plot and almost a no plot. But the reason why I enjoyed this movie and I give it 4 stars is I still loved watching my beloved toys on their adventure. And I'm not gonna lie, the ending, it hit me this time more emotionally than I remembered, and I was a little caught off guard by that, and maybe that's why I gave it 4 stars, because the ending hit me hard, with Woody staying behind and Buzz accepting that. And I thought this movie was a lot about accepting change and having different perspective on things. And, you know, as soon as Woody meets up with Bo Peep, it's like he sees a different world there, and like, oh, maybe I do have a better spot in this area of life, but I don't want to ditch my original friends, because like he was ready to go back with Bonnie at the end, but then Buzz assures him that he'll be okay without him. Like, that was very emotional in my opinion. I wasn't bored here. I don't know if I didn't disconnect like you did, basically. And I know what you mean. Sometimes you don't feel it, and then you want to pull out your phone and do other things, and I've done that with many movies, Eric. But no, for some reason, this one, I was low expectations and I was pleasantly surprised by it. I don't know what else to say, Eric. Was there anything that like pissed you off, or nothing seemed important in the movie, or like, did you want to elaborate more, or are we...
I think like the simplest way to put it is I just did not care. Like, I didn't care about anything happening in the movie, where even like there's some ideas that I like though, like the wild aspect of like, hey, you could have this different life with me, Bo Peep. We've always
Mhm.
had kind of this little will they, won't they situation. Well, now we can, and there doesn't have to be a toy picking us up, forcing us to kiss, kind of thing. Like, we can just do our own thing
Right,
if we
right.
want. So that's kind of cool. But again, like for me, like it's almost like full on opposite experience for me watching. I did not like the Key and Peele characters. Like I didn't find them funny. I think I laughed more watching them the first time, but this time, all of like the makeshift scenarios of them like jumping on the old lady in the antiques, like, oh, we got you there, oh, get him over. I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. And the end,
Fair
so
enough.
me, it was like I was scrolling on my laptop, like, all right, how much time is left in this movie here? But I
No.
think the
Oh.
problem is I maybe shouldn't have unhooked. Maybe I should have just dialed in, throw the phone out of the room, and watch the movie, and maybe it is a different outcome for me. So I'll take some ownership on. Gotta fight that the pull of the technology, right? Like the lily
Right.
pad on my lap, just begging to be used out here. Gotta resist sometimes and just go back to the toys. So but again, this viewing experience does not make me inclined to, when I am to rewatch these movies, watch this one again. Like I would almost,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll save my last comment on 4 for after. But yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of all I got on this one, honestly. I like though
Uh,
the idea of Woody staying behind and now for allowing us to forge a new path going forward in 5 with Woody taking on a more supporting role.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like objective, like arguably it's the one, if the weakest, if not one of the weakest in the franchise. I see the quality drop off too. I'm not like I'm not delusional. A 4 star might be very generous on my part to give it a 4 star, but definitely a big quality drop off. Not as enjoyable as the first three by like not even close. Um, the first three had some sort of magic that even as an adult watching, you're loving it, and then this one is more fun and maybe it appeals more to kids. And
Mm.
if I saw 4 as a kid, it'd probably be way even higher because I think it's a. I think, I mean, I enjoyed watching it now, Eric. So,
Mm.
but yeah, big quality drop off. I can't deny that. Like it's not even close to 1, 2, and 3. And then they decided to do a fifth one this year, so we'll talk about
Mhm.
that next. But yeah, do you want to just close out number 4? I'm just going to close it out by saying, yeah, I really enjoyed it, surprisingly, but nowhere near as good as the first three. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, same here. Hey, that's all. That's all I
Okay.
got. Well, actually, not same here because you said it really enjoyed it, so no. But yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I think you're right though. Maybe seeing this, maybe this hits for kids, right? Forky could be the face of Gen whatever they're called now, and that's perfectly fine. But I think me watching it for the first time at 25 and now 32, like it just twice, and there ain't gonna be a strike 3 out here. So I think that's my
Okay.
closing pitch on Toy Story 4. 5, I teed up 4. You want to go with 5?
Sure.
Spoilers
when
for
this movie
5.
was announced, yeah, spoilers for Five Guys. When this movie came out, Eric had a great idea. Like, let's do the franchise. We marathon all the Toy Story movies. I watched them all. Then I was very excited to go to the theater to watch this movie. I had zero expectations, especially after number 4. I was like, is this one going to be better or worse? What's this one going to be? Again, just my opening thoughts. I thought 5 was very enjoyable, and I enjoyed the whole movie. I have a lot to say about it. I'm going to get into it after my opening thoughts. But just that our beloved characters are there again, but kind of casted differently in this movie. They're older and more mature, just like they've been maturing in every single movie in the franchise. This is they're almost in their mature years and their elderly years, and you see that in this movie. And they're a little wiser and smarter, and I appreciated that. But yeah, my opening thoughts very enjoyable. What about you, Eric?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Toy Story 5. So coming off 4, I'm like, all right, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at a Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker situation, or I don't have an opposite comparable for that, but I'll call Toy Story 4 Last Jedi, but I will not call Toy Story 5 Rise of Skywalker because I was a big fan of Toy Story 5. I really enjoyed it as well. So
Nice.
I think this was a great return to form for this franchise. Like the pivot, And kind of from the opening scene, well, actually the second scene, it sets the tone for whose movie this is. This is the spin I did not see coming, but was a big fan of overall, and making this a Jessie centric story being told, and she's kind of the driving force of this movie as opposed to Woody for all these years, obviously Buzz as well, but she finally gets her chance to really shine, and Joan Cusack nailed it in this movie. So that's opening thought for me is I really enjoyed it, and I like the direction change with making Jessie our main character. I think it's fair to say she's the star of this movie.
You nailed it on the head there, Eric. I as well love the Jessie focus of the Jessie being the focus of the movie, as well as Bonnie and her coming of age experiences with other children and technology. I thought this is my take on this on Toy Story 5. I thought this movie had the feel of an Inside Out movie, but instead of the things, their emotions in her brain running the show, it's her toys trying to help her out navigate through life, kind of like an Inside Out. Like that right away. That's how I felt this movie is being portrayed as, and I liked it. And I liked the fact that they introduced technology, but it didn't become the main focus point like I thought it did, having seen the trailer. I thought Lily Pad was going to be an all-out Lotso and be super cruel, but she kind of has Bonnie's best intentions at the end of the day, and she's not really a villain. 4 and 5 don't really have a true villain, in my opinion. And they handle the technology aspect beautifully, also showing that some technology too has been discarded, like our Smarty Pants toy, voiced by Conan O'Brien, who was pretty funny in my opinion. They show a lot of technology evolves as well and moves fast, and that was really cool. But again, there was a lot of good stuff with Bonnie's coming of age and Jessie helping her with that, and I thought that was really well done, just like in the Inside Out movies. Dealing with emotions, and this movie educates a lot too, and there's a lot of aha moments, like, oh yeah, I can relate to that, that's happened in my life. Oh yeah, showing up to a sleepover and being embarrassed or not wanting to be embarrassed, stuff like that, right, Eric? A lot of relatable stuff from when I was younger too. So yeah, no, big fan of the movie as well, Eric. And what did you think of Lily Pad and the AI stuff and the technology?
No, but you said a lot of great things there that I completely agree with. The Inside Out angle, spot on comparison, but still having that classic Toy Story flair. And I do think this is the first movie, or the one that does this the most of the whole franchise, is really focus on, for once, the owner of the toys rather than the toys themselves having their own story, and the toys being a huge, almost coping mechanism or supporting device to guide her through life. We've always known toys play that role, but we're now really seeing it from a kid's perspective who's struggling to fit into the world because she still plays with toys in a world where no one does anymore, and is kind of being left behind almost herself, like the Smarty Pants technology that's being dismissed because it's not up to date with the times. The toys who aren't really shiny anymore, and that no one wants to play with toys anymore. Everyone's kind of being left behind if you can't keep up in this fast-paced society. So there's a lot of good messaging in here that, again, they don't really either spoon feed you or hit you over the head with it to the point where it becomes unbearable. I think they handled that really well. The AI, it wasn't an alarmist kind of movie of, oh, AI is taking over and technology is ruining our kids and everything. It's somewhat implied, but that's not the main focus of the movie. There can be a good balance of both, right? You can play with an iPad for a certain amount of time, but you should also be using your own creativity, getting out there, playing with people, and learning how to interact with them by playing with toys together and imagining these stories and stuff. So I loved all of that, and us growing up, we had Game Boys, and we played on different gaming consoles, but still also, like I said earlier, played with Lego and stuff. So it is possible to marry the two together, and I think this movie presents that message in a more up to date with the times and relatable way. So the technology angle, fantastic, and I love, again, obviously spoiler here, but the Lily Pad, how things end with the Lily Pad, I didn't really see coming. Me too. I thought it was going to be all-out villain, but she truly is just trying to help Bonnie make friends, and she realized that, hey, making friends in this day and age is not by playing with Jesse and Bullseye toy. It's by getting on the pond and playing these games, or you're playing with other people virtually. This is how it's done nowadays. Adapt, sink or swim, basically. So I was a big fan of all that.
Eric, you said a lot of great things there. Yeah, absolutely. They didn't beat you over the head with anything. Like, they showed how our technology, how Lilypad first helped her get phony friends that weren't true friends, but then also at the end of the day helped her connect to Blaze, her true friend, who she becomes friends with her at the end of the movie. Blaze, who's also like Bonnie, a little weird and quirky, like in a good way, and likes to play with real toys. So Lilypad helped in both aspects, which is in life, technology is great and bad at the same time. We had it great as millennials, Eric, like growing up, we had the technology, but not too much of it. And then we had the real stuff, like actual trading card games and Lego and toys. And then we also had consoles, but that didn't connect you online, right? You had to go to the house to go play with your buddy if you want to do co-op. So we really had the best of it growing up, in my opinion, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. So, but Bonnie has no chance. It's like right away, like if you're not invited to that game on the pond, like her Lilypad was in charge. She was freaking out, and I could totally see kids freaking out too over their iPad or their tablet or whatever. That was well done. I had secondhand embarrassment, and I wanted to support Bonnie so badly. Like, I was crushed when she was at the sleepover, and how they're like, oh, you still play with toys, and when they saw her post online about her missing toy, that was devastating. I love the back and forth between what Jesse was doing and what the other toys were doing. Woody's really just a side character cameo in this movie, poking fun of his bald head. That was a pretty funny gag. Then intercut with all the buzzes coming down in the opening scene and finding their purpose. That was a cool callback. Although I fear that were they just injected in the movie as a plot device to have them help out in the end and be the main. They really pulled their weight at the end of the movie, right? Especially flying them out of there when they were on the highway. That was cool. But were they just there for that? Sure. Is there more purpose to them? Maybe you can tell me. But yeah, no, I really enjoy watching this movie. The whole Buzz and Jesse thing, Eric. You want to touch on that? They've been teasing it in many movies, and now Buzz wants to propose to her. That was kind of cute and charming, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I was a big fan of the Buzz Jesse finally taking that next step in there. Of course, he starts off, he gets promoted to deputy in the movie there in Woody's absence, right? And I would say Buzz was also more of a supporting character in this movie, where a lot of his screen time was devoted to him acting out a proposal or wanting to talk to her, right? So it was kind of funny. It was a humorous plot for him to take on. And then, yeah, big fan of the proposal scene and just their dynamic in general. I've been a big fan of. And just on the topic of Buzz, so me too, the whole movie, the movie opens up with all these buzzes drifting ashore on this island from a shipping container. And they're all just getting activated. They can barely speak a lick of English. They're just trying to figure out how they got there. They're trying to get to Star Command. They built this raft and are swimming across the Atlantic to find this island or wherever they're at. Obviously, and again, you want to talk about unrealistic. It's a movie about toys who are alive, for God's sake. So we're just throwing that out the window. But when they get to, again, a shipping yard, they climb up the tower. They're finding the highest star. Eventually there's going to be a crossover with our main characters. I didn't see exactly when or how they would fit in there, but my call when they're in the forest and then one of them gets lost in combat and is picked up by the family and you see the kids playing with the Buzz, I kind of clicked and made the prediction that it would be the Buzzes who reteach the new generation what it means to play with toys. That was kind of my takeaway with this is what their meaning is in this movie. And I don't know if you stuck around till the end, Matt, but there was a post-credit scene. Did you see that scene?
No. Tell me what happened. I have no idea.
So I was when the movie ends, I was like, damn, I guess they're really just there, the Buzzes, to be the drones. That scene was sick when they activated their wings and their drones there to get them back to Bonnie's house. Big fan of that. But it was exactly what I predicted. They all landed in a schoolyard where one kid is kind of not being bullied, but no one wants to play with the kid. And then he gets one of the buzzes just drops from the skies into his hands, and then all the other buzzes also descend on the schoolyard, and all the kids have a buzz, and they all start playing together. So it was
Oh, that's
not a big deal. Nailed that prediction, but it was pretty cool to see how like the buzzes weren't just there to look cool with their upgrades and then fly everyone home. It was they're the cool toy. They have been in they were in 95 and they still are in 2026. So I really loved their whole story wrapped up, and maybe again stepping into Toy Story 6 we can enter a world where playtime isn't over, you know? So
okay. Well, that end credit scene ups the movie for me because I didn't know that, and that fixes my not my little issue, but that's good to know, Eric. I had no idea. But yeah, this movie did a great job for me of like I was captivated the whole time. The going back and forth, like I really wanted. Obviously, we all wanted Bonnie and Blaze to connect at the end, and it happened. It was a great moment. It almost didn't happen. You're like, okay, one of you say something. You just want to urge them on, but like they have to do it themselves, or it's never gonna happen. When Bonnie first goes to Blaze's ranch and like says like, no, I don't want that toy. It's not mine. Like that was heart wrenching. I was like, oh my god.
same.
Jessie took it pretty well though, and she kept her spirit up. But Jesus, that was soul crushing. Yeah, the scene with like at that tree that was like maybe a kilometer away or half a kilometer away from the ranch, and then Jessie realizes that her first kid named her daughter after her. And then that was touching. The scene with all the horses. There was a lot of cool moments. Way better than the fourth one, in my opinion. It had more like of the original feel than the fourth one. The fourth one really is the odd duck of the franchise. And a lot more kids centered on the character, on Bonnie, like you said. This is the first movie where the kid gets a lot of screen time and we see what's going on, which I appreciated. So a lot more interactions with humans in this movie for sure. It was a welcome change. Yeah, no, I thought it was, like I said, very, very enjoyable. I'm okay if they keep making these, honestly. Like, as long as they have good stories, I'll keep watching these. And I was just pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this. And seeing my beloved toys again, like, how many years later? Like, 20 years later or 21 years later after the first one. Just magic. Just magic, Eric. Yeah, these movies will always be a part of my life because they're at the start, and they keep coming out as I'm in my mid-30s, so it's great. It's a great time right now.
Oh, yeah, the scene, the Jessie in the tree with Emily named her daughter after me. Like, I was crying at that. That was super emotional scene. Like that was all-time stuff. Again, this doesn't even compare to 4 in my opinion. Like this is such a good bounce back movie. I was a big fan. One of my favorites of the year so far for sure. And agreed, we need Toy Story 6, and it's gonna be again, maybe we get an older Bonnie in the next one, but you don't want a repeat of 3 with now Bonnie's giving up the toys kind of thing. Maybe you do keep her in this age bracket, and I don't know what the story could look like there, but again, maybe it is that we're now re-entering an age of toys, or kids play with toys now. I don't know if actually could have been cool to have this be a movie where it tees up a war between toys and technology, but maybe that's a little extreme for a kids franchise there. But I like how it ended on a note of peace and optimism, right? Where Lily Pad and Jessica are now aligned, and buzzes are reteaching kids what it means to play. And one thing that I really enjoyed of Toy Story 5 is that they took a page out of The Bear and gave Fack, aka Forky, way less screen time and made him more of a supporting character in the shadows. And honestly, it was kind of funny in this one. So I found I had no issues with Forky this go around. It just goes to show you're not a first line winger, you're a fourth line grinder. Let's just stay to your role and you'll have some success if you don't try to punch above your weight class, fella. And this one, It was a solid movie. Very little complaints about 5, honestly. I was a big fan. I feel like if Lilypad had some Lotso in her, she would have taken over all of the buzzes at the end when they realized that they had Wi-Fi in them. But that would have been kind of out of left field because at that point she committed seppuku and just threw herself into the bin and was ready to get donated, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I like that moment. That was a solid, good growth from Lilypad. I was a fan.
Yeah. Very valiant moment and
Yes.
a moment of honor, like you said, like from a Japanese samurai movie.
Yeah.
One, Eric, great comparison with Fak and the bear. More on that later in what we watched,
Okay.
or random
Still.
recommendation. Two, yeah, like seeing the trailer, I thought this movie was a full-out war against Lilypad and AI as the enemy, but this movie took I guess the trailer was well done because it didn't represent what it was going to show in the movie, which was a more complex and rich story where Lilypad is in there but not the main focus. And I really thought it was going to be them just her chasing them around in Bonnie's house the whole time and having a war against her. But there was like different players and different households, and it was really really rich and richly done. Good writing and Jesse focus, which I didn't expect, which was a welcome change. So yeah, no, this movie pleasantly surprised me. And yeah, like you, Eric, I think we were both feel the same way about it. And this is a great franchise. Is it pound for pound one of the best franchises ever made? Like for you, only 1 week entry in it, and can you say that? Like, is there a lot of 5-movie franchises that have only 1 week entry? I don't know, tough to say, but this is definitely one of my favorite franchises of all time. And it's always been a part of my life, and I will always love it very dearly.
Completely agreed. Looking forward to seeing what 6 looks like, and then we can have a conversation about a true 6-movie saga, right? Like the Star Wars' pre-sequel trilogy, of course. But no,
Right.
fantastic stuff. I'm kind of good to sign off on Toy Story and get into some potential fact discussion in the next chapter. But no, looking forward to seeing what they do next and closing out Bonnie's story and hopefully teeing her and the rest of the world up for success when it comes to playing with toys and using your creativity rather than just being a slave to technology. So, no, great stuff. A lot of fun to go over these movies with you, Matt, in depth. So, yeah, random recommendations. You want to kick us off with something you've been consuming?
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned it, but yeah, I did watch the final season of The Bear, season 5, and I absolutely loved it. The reason why I loved it was it closed out the show beautifully, in my opinion, and the whole season took place in one day, which I like that choice. It's super easy to watch. Like half the episodes are like under half an hour, and then a couple long ones at the end. Love the characters. Love the frantic pace of the season where they're trying to get ready for that one night of a service. And I don't want to say too much because I don't know if you've watched it, Eric, but it was a good ending to a show that I really enjoyed. And I think it's made my list every year. I watched it in my top 10 shows, and it was very like nostalgic watching it, like thinking back when the show started, and it got me a little emotional too, in a good way. Like I had a big smile on my face during the last episode. But yeah, The Bear season 5, I highly recommend it if you haven't started it yet, Eric.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed it. It's a good ending. Not that many shows that are critically acclaimed are able to go out on a high, right? 5 seasons, it's still a good
True.
amount of TV. So, and I really respect and appreciate what this show did, and it started in 2022 and it pumped out 5 seasons up until 2026. So every single year, same time of year, in June, you're getting a new Bear full season out. Love that. It's kind of going to be missed, right, as one of those flagship shows that's putting
Right.
out a season every year, but hopefully another product can take up the mantle and hold it down there. But no, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm definitely going to give it a rip at some point.
That's awesome.
Show, nothing else really to report, but I did go see a movie last night actually at the theater that I was hoping to catch in theaters before it disappears. Mans is 79 years old and still pumping out content. Steven Spielberg's latest movie, Disclosure Day. So I went and checked that out last night with my mom, and I was a fan of the movie, honestly. I thought it was solid. From what I heard, I don't think it reached the highs that people thought it would, given that it's Spielberg, it's a big sci-fi movie. people maybe wanted it to be a bit more, but I really liked it, honestly. I think it's a good movie, looks great, has that classic sci-fi mysterious feel of a Spielberg movie. I think the John Williams score is one thing that really gives it that tone where every time there's 6 black Range Rovers pulling up in a straight line in a parking lot or behind a building there with smoke at nighttime, you're getting those classic notes that you've heard a million times, but it's always fire, always hits. And this is a movie that introduced a lot of cool ideas about aliens exist, and then how does the world react to finding out that they are among us and this is a secret that the government has kept from us, right? That's kind of the driving force of this movie, is disclosing this hidden top secret information to the public. So they introduce a lot of cool ideas in there about what it means to believe, right? And when should you take that away from someone and tell them exactly what's what, or leave some up to the imagination. And they intertwine religion in there too, what it means to hold things to your faith and everything there. I think a lot of cool ideas there. I don't want to spoil more than that, but a lot of really interesting ideas. I think maybe an issue with it is that in introducing so many things, they're only able to flesh out a number of them and not push everything to the level that they could have had this been longer. And that being said, this still is a long enough movie. Like, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I won't really say that it feels short. Like, it definitely had some moments where I was like, okay, like, we could have sped this scene up a little bit. But there's enough intrigue, enough cool stuff, and good character moments that make it worthwhile. And I do think it's a movie worth seeing. I did want to discuss it. Don't know if it's going to crack the top 10 at the end of the day. I'll say probably not, but I enjoyed it. And I think Emily Blunt, fantastic in the movie. Probably one of my favorite movies of hers, like, performance-wise. I think she knocked it out of the park. Big fan. That's
wow. I definitely have not seen this, Eric. A lot of people have talked to me about this movie, including my mom, who said a little too much. So I know a little, like, she spoiled a couple things for me, sadly, but I mean, she didn't mean to. Yeah, I've heard everything from this movie has no ending, it doesn't have a last act, to this movie is very interesting and proposes and poses a lot of good questions and ideas, especially about extraterrestrial life. So, like, it definitely intrigues me. I also heard, like, the script itself is not, there's something missing in the script, but Spielberg directs the shit out of this movie. Like, it looks amazing. Like, the actors are great. The score, like what you said, all the on a production note, it's really good. But maybe the story leaves more to be desired. That's all. Like, what people have told me. Now, hearing your review on it, Eric, I'm even more interested in watching it now. You said a lot of good things that, like, captured my attention and my want to watch this movie. Like, I'm interested now, even more so. I'm always interested in the Spielberg movie, but you said a lot of things that other people hadn't said, so you brought some, like, fresh information to light for me, so that's good. Good review of the movie, and I can't wait to check it out. Is all this hate justified, or what's going on with all the hate?
I don't think it's justified, honestly. Like, and you saying there's no third act, I think, like I don't want to, because I know you probably heard maybe people say the ending's bad, but for me, things got better at the end. If anything, it's a movie that, walking out of the theater, you're going to want to discuss a little bit, because it's a thinker, and it's not what I appreciated about this movie. I don't know if this is saying too much there, but it's not an exposition heavy movie. It's not like a Mission Impossible movie, or it's not like Stranger Things, for example, where they're saying, so you're saying that if this universe is like this glass, and then if we take this book and go through, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not really dumbing it down for the audience. You kind of have to be paying attention and almost infer your own meaning to what a few things mean. So I think that's a plus, in my opinion, that it's not, like, Lynch would be proud watching this movie. I'll just say that. So the Lynch heads out there listening there, I know you come up almost every pod, it seems, but no, I think it's worth seeing. If you can catch it in theaters, Matt, I would, because it does look good, and big blockbuster, worth seeing in theaters. But no, I definitely would recommend it for sure.
All right, great review, Eric.
Yeah.
I've been watching. I'll talk about a movie next. Cause like the shows I've been watching, I haven't really completed the seasons yet. Like obviously House of the Dragon. There's the new X-Men show, X-Men 97 season 2. I don't know if you saw that, Eric. First 3 episodes are out.
No, I had no idea. Let's go. That's huge.
Yeah. Like I just saw that too on Disney Plus. I'm like, awesome. 3 episodes out already.
Nice.
Looks great. So yeah, so there's I'm doing X-Men, House of the Dragon. I did watch all of The Last Airbender on Netflix, the live action Avatar Last Airbender show. That to me, that just it's made for like kids, but I love it because I love the cartoon. Anyways, we're not gonna get into that. It's super weak writing, but it looks cool on the live action aspect looks cool. Anyways, I'll talk about a movie instead, guys. The last thing I'm gonna talk about. This movie's on Amazon Prime. It's called Over Your Dead Body, starring Jason Segel and Samara Weaving. This is a dark comedy / horror movie thriller. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a blending of the genres, my favorite, where it's funny as hell, but also like super horrific sometimes. It's about a couple that goes to the camp, and I don't know how. You know what? I'm not going to say anything about the plot because if you go in blind, you'll be pleasantly surprised. But nefarious things start happening, and then other characters come in and get introduced, and there's a lot of nefarious things going on, but through like a dark comedy angle. So what I liked about Over Your Dead Body was the script and the dialogue was great. Jason Segel was funny, and Samara Weaving was also as great. And then the supporting characters that come along later are also really good. One of them's Timothy Olyphant, who I love, and another one's Juliette Lewis, who's batshit crazy in a good way. Anyways, this movie rips by. It's easy to watch. You turn your brain off. It's really, really good. So that's Over Your Dead Body on Amazon Prime. Many different genres in this movie. It's really, really good.
Okay, nice. No, I like some genre blending and bending. So definitely one to look at. I had seen it be promoted on Prime Video there, so look to check that out. Because, yeah, Segel is solid. I feel like with Shrinking 2, he's definitely had a bit of a resurgence, so it's cool to see him get back into the movie scene as well. Like, I Love You, Man was a solid one I checked out earlier this year. Reran that. Good movie, honestly. And, yeah, so, no, good stuff. That's kind of it I want to recommend on the movie front. I did talk about this book a few, like maybe the last episode, honestly, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Really good stuff. I actually just started reading it. Page Turner, and I'll just give a quick synopsis. It's this guy wakes up in the middle of the night, steps out of his building to go rescue his cat out of a tree, and in the blink of an eye, every single building from what we can tell, the world collapses and are just ingested into the earth, and the earth becomes a flat surface, and then portals start opening up around the world, and if you want to continue living, you have to enter these portals, and you're now in a level of dungeons inside the earth where you have to acquire skills to survive. And this book reads out like a video game, essentially, where this character is acquiring skills, he's leveling up, his stats are boosting, he's getting achievements, unlocking weapons and stuff, and it's pretty funny, honestly, so far. So I like how this is a really unique book. I've never read anything like this, and I'm enjoying the pace so far, where there's like a tutorial that's read out to him, and objectives that he needs to reach to win the game, essentially. And all of the surviving humans are fighting it out in this dungeon and are crawling through it. And our main character's name is Carl. Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's the name of the book. It's somewhat of a recent book. There's already like 7 books out, though. The author's been pumping them out.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty critically acclaimed series. Would recommend if you're looking for a new series, because I'm really into it so far. This first one's been a page turner, and the main character's cat is in the dungeon with them, so that's kind of a plus for me, right? So is a character as well in the dungeon, right? So has her own stats, Princess Donut.
Cool.
So yeah, really recommend. It's fun to have a solid novella or novel to read, and yeah, would recommend.
Oh, that seems right on my alley, Eric. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I was reading Ready Player One, and I felt like, which isn't the same as this, but I felt like the book was written for me, where all the references I was really like, it was a page turner for me too. So that's awesome. A Spielberg movie too. So there you go. There's a connection, Disclosure Day. But yeah, Dungeon Crawler. Okay, and there's more than one book. That's interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to read the first one and go from there.
100% has some Ready Player One. It reminds me of Ready Player One, Hunger Games, even like Running Man from last year, because there's a game show element to it as well, and the characters make constant references to movies, shows, pop culture. So right up your alley for sure. It's some good pop culture Jeopardy training for us to read books like this and just acquire the lore that we would need in LA, but in the hills. But yeah, so no, really good stuff. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier too. Like a new hobby I've taken on in the last few weeks is just playing chess on my phone. Again, we played that at our cousin Dylan's bachelor party. Surprised at how much I took a liking into it. Watching people who are actually good at playing chess was fun to do at this bachelor party. I swear it wasn't lame. It was a ton of fun. And now I'm playing it on my phone all the time and acquiring a bit of strategy, knowledge, and I feel like if I were to go toe-to-toe with someone else again in real life, I'd be more competent than I was last time. So no, it's been fun to do something different on my phone, right? So yeah, chess, would recommend. Gets the wheels turning, and it's always good to try some new things out, learn new skills, and chess is universal, right?
A game that makes you smarter, right? Like it's not an easy game, and then you develop strategies, you memorize things, so it develops your brain. 100% has to. So that's awesome to hear, Eric. I should definitely get into that, because I absolutely got decimated by our cousin Dylan at chess, and it kind of turned me off from chess. I don't want to play it for another 10 years, but no, I definitely respect chess players, and I like watching chess. Like, it was fun to watch people play at a higher level than me.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of all I would have to recommend at this time. We went strawberry picking today, actually. A lot of fun. I don't know if how much more time there'll be for folks who haven't done that to do so, but would definitely recommend that. Raspberry and blueberry picking seasons are coming up though in a few weeks, so that's something to look forward to. Honestly, it's a good little outing. Fun to do, and then the quality of the berries is so much better than what you'll buy in store. Definitely recommend that as a future activity for the summer for the folks in Ottawa or wherever you may be. Get out there, support your local farms.
Great recommendation, Eric. I know this is going back, but did people, the poll you put on Instagram for Toy Story,
Good
did people
call.
agree with us?
Good call.
Yeah, it just popped in my head.
I'm so bad at that. Like, ask questions and then forget to bring it up on the pod. So thank you. So the poll was for which is your favorite Toy Story. So the votes were split. Well, not split. It was a 67% for Toy Story 1, 22% for Toy Story 2. 0% for Toy Story 3, and then 11% for other, and there was no clarification as to what the other was. I'm gonna guess it was 5, but yeah, no 3s was really surprising, and a landslide victory for 1. Yeah.
Maybe they hadn't watched 3 in a while, because like 1 and 2. If you're just going off memory, you're gonna think 1 and 2. You're gonna go with 1 and 2, which they're all 10 out of 10, so I'm not even angry at that result. But I didn't expect that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's it though, right? It's that the staying power of 1 and 2, the nostalgia as either as a kid watching or as a parent with your kids. That I think is what's gonna stick with people more than the still recent 3, which was a great send off, and it's what it means to give up your toys and everything there, but 1 and 2 are just so classic, and I don't think they'll ever be topped in terms of being people's favorites, other than maybe people who are born nowadays and grow up. They can watch 1 through 5 and then make their choice. But if you're in that millennial Gen X range, which is more our target audience on here, some Gen Z, like, you're picking 1 and 2, so I get it.
Yeah, good point.
But this is a ton of fun to go over the Toy Stories. Looking forward to going over 6 when that drops down the road. And hey, maybe it's not the last time we talk about 5 this year. Who knows? But any final notes for the listeners, Matt?
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about the Toy Story franchise. It's a franchise me and Eric love, and I hope you agree with us. And let us know what you thought of the episode and if you have points to inject that like we didn't mention. So, yeah, just thank you, everybody, again. We really appreciate you listening to the podcast. And I also hope you guys are enjoying your summer right now, enjoying the sports on TV and everything, all your activities. Thank you so much.
Well said, Matt. So yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy the warm weather. Pick those strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. And yeah, peace.